afternoon, and thanks for watching the Market Day Report. I'm Janet Adkison. Well, agriculture groups are fighting back once again against the Waters of the U.S. rule. The law is now in place in 26 states, but not for long if the American Farm Bureau has anything to say about it. The group, along with a broad coalition of other organizations, will appeal last week's court ruling. They also put in a separate filing to a federal district court in Texas, urging it to issue a nationwide injunction against the 2015 rule. Previous injunctions blocked WOTUS in 24 states, but the recent South Carolina decision leaves 26 states facing immediate irreparable harm. That's according to the American Farm Bureau's Southern Texas filing. And joining us now for further perspective is AFBF Regulatory Relations Senior Director Don Parrish. Don, as always, thanks for taking the time to chat with us. Give us a brief recap of the federal court ruling and your thoughts, of course, on that ruling.
Well, to begin with, farmers and ranchers need to understand that what the South Carolina court and judge did was stop the Trump administration's rule that would have stopped the implementation of the 2015 WOTUS rule. This is a significant setback, but it's one in which Farm Bureau is going to be in this fight for the long haul. We're going to do what it takes, as long as it takes, to make sure this rule doesn't go into effect.
So, Don, what exactly does this latest ruling mean for the farmers and ranchers in those 26 states?
Well, clearly, we know that it's going to disrupt a lot of operations. It's going to create a lot of uncertainty. We think it's going to have some detrimental impacts on not just farmers and ranchers and what they do with their land, but also on the economy in general. We're concerned because now 26 states are going to be totally in the dark as to how this rule is going to be implemented, and that's going to have an impact on the economy.
Don, as we mentioned, the Southern Texas filing by the AFBF and other ag groups, but what else is the American Farm Bureau doing in response? Is there any correspondence with the White House?
Well, clearly we are trying to work very closely with this administration. We are also encouraging them, along with us, to appeal this ruling. We think it is unjust. We think it creates the kind of disorganized implementation of federal law that we've been fearful of. We're also asking them to finalize the repeal of the 2015 WOTUS rule as soon as they possibly can. We want them to do it in a legally defensible manner. We know that it's going to take some time, but clearly we're asking for this administration's help to work to keep their head down, to dot all I's and cross all T's, and make sure that this rule goes away.
Now, Don, the EPA has proposed to permanently repeal the 2015 WOTUS rule and replace it, of course, with a new one. What are the next steps, and are we making progress through that process, and what is Farm Bureau doing to support that process?
Well, clearly, they've just finished a comment period last week, and it was very easy for us to identify the reasons to repeal that rule. First and foremost, that 2015 rule wrote the term navigable out of the Clean Water Act, and it didn't comply, we believe, with the Constitution. So it's going to be pretty easy, I think, for the administration to find some very valid and solid reasons to repeal the 2015 rule. Once we move beyond this hopefully short-term setback, we're going to see an administration propose a rule that provides some clarity and certainty for industry, for people that want to make sure that we have clean water and clear rules. So hopefully we're on a glide path to get that done. This is clearly a setback. It's a setback that we're going to fight to the end, but one we hope that is only momentary.
All right, Don, as always, thank you very much for your time and your perspective this morning. Again, AFBF Regulatory Relations Senior Director Don Parrish joining us from the AFBF headquarters in Washington, D.C. this afternoon.